time for stock up and stock down. We're going to do individual people this week because there were enough individual performances that we got to start with. I mean, I don't think anyone's stock could be higher than Arch Manning. He comes into the game after Quinn Ewers gets hurt with an abdomen oblique injury for him. And we don't know when he's coming back. He's questionable for this weekend. But Arch Manning comes in and immediately throws a touchdown pass. And then 2 plays later, immediately runs 67 yards for a touchdown. I don't think we've ever seen all the Mannings combined run for a touchdown that long, which was funny because then his dad was like, no, he got his speed from his mom. But he finished with 5 touchdowns in this game. I know it was just UTSA, but JP, like, this is why everyone has always been envious of the quarterback situation, the room and the depth at Texas, because you have someone like Arch Manning just waiting in the wings and who can put up these types of numbers, 9 of 12, 223 yards, and 5 total touchdowns. And that rush yard total is 53 because he had that long run and then, you lose yardage and it subtracts from that. But like, honestly, I don't think anyone had a better Saturday than Arch Manning.
It is amazing to see. And to your point, in college football, a lot of teams don't have quarterback depth because quarterbacks all want to play and they get in the portal. And so it's really difficult to convince somebody to stick around that's as high quality as Arch. Like if he in the offseason would have said, I want to go somewhere else, he would have had every team pursuing him and he would have been a starter. Right. And we see exactly why with the talent there. It does put Texas in this weird situation where I think the right thing to do when Quinn Ewers is healthy is go back to him. He's veteran. He was playing Heisman level quarterback play throughout the beginning part of this season. And it seems like he would be the guy, especially with the playoff run that they made last year, that you would trust going into the future. I don't know if fans are going to see it that simply, though. And I don't know if fans are going to hear it that way. And like it's almost a bad thing when you have a backup this good because it's going to create a divide from the people that view the games. And like you'll get on social media and you'll have the people who are like, it's Quinn's job. And you're going to have the people who are like, dog, did you just see what Arch did? Like he needs to play. And I think that's going to be the most interesting thing coming out of this. Like besides the idea that they have the quarterback of the future, and that is very clear now, they're going to have a unique decision to make because of the reactions of people based off of who they go with moving forward.
And if you go to a Texas game, what are the jerseys you see everywhere? They're Arch Manning jerseys, right? Like, it's crazy because the backup quarterback, we always say, is the most popular player on campus, but he's like actually the most popular player on this campus. And it is crazy. And it's almost like we're underappreciating Quinn Ewers because, to your point, he is playing at a Heisman caliber level. He is the one who brought Texas back to national relevance, to the playoff last year, to the #1 ranking. He has got them here, but you're absolutely right. There will be an undercurrent of people who want to see Arch Manning, and they want to see him now. I will say the schedule shakes up really, really well for Texas if they want to give time to Quinn to helpfully get back and be healthy. Oblique injuries are weird, right? It's hard to tell if you're feeling 100% and you got to make those throws. But they've got Mississippi State. They've got time Louisiana Monroe, the Mississippi State. They've got time to ease him back. And if Arch Manning makes his first start this weekend, he should be fine, right? Like this is the type of competition, and with a full week of preparation, he should be ready to go. Other stock up player, we will go with Travis Hunter, who, by the way, is someone that you absolutely need to be paying attention for the Heisman, even if Colorado is nowhere near like the Big 12 race or the playoff, because what he is doing is just unbelievable. He's had 3 consecutive 100-yard games, 5 touchdowns through these 3 games. But he's also playing basically every snap of the game because he's also playing on defense. So he's played 129 snaps against North Dakota State, 126 against Nebraska, and 123 more in the Colorado State game, which in that game, 13 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, got an interception, had 5 tackles, and a pass breakup. I don't know if I've ever seen a stat line like that.
It is special, right? Like that's the best word I have to describe him is special. And there's a worry for me about the amount of reps that he's playing. Like I think it's really difficult to keep that production up. But he's different and he wants to do it. Like Prime has talked about this idea of, we tried to hold him back, and he's on the sideline wearing him out to the point where he's like, I got to put him back in the game. And I love a guy who's a competitor like that. You mentioned it. You have a Heisman vote. I don't. But like, the record is not going to matter for you by the end of the year if Travis Hunter is producing like this.
No, it's not. And it shouldn't, because again, like, we have seen some two-way players. We've seen guys who, play like a little. Miles Jack is one that I think about recently, UCLA, but not this type of workload. Like, he is at the same time one of the best receivers in the country and one of the best cornerbacks in the country. Like, that part is crazy. And he's so much of what Colorado does on both sides of the ball that he absolutely deserves this type of recognition. And I just think that when they fade to the background a little bit, we need to make sure that the voters, and honestly for every award and for the Heisman in particular, are paying attention, because this is our job, is to watch the best players in the country. And this is undoubtedly one of the best players in the country in Travis Hunter. Last for stock up, I'm going to give this one to you. Curt Cignetti, Indiana Hoosiers, 3-0. We saw them really blow out UCLA at the Rose Bowl and kind of take over. What do you make of Coach Sig and the start that he's had in his first season with the Hoosiers?
I mean, he started in the offseason, and he was very vocal about his expectations for his team and what he wanted people to believe. Like, I think the big part of him talking like that wasn't just like, oh, this is a guy who's brash and who's cocky. Like, I think he wanted people to buy into the idea that Indiana is a place that can be successful, a place where they can have good football, and they've shown that so far. The biggest thing that stands out to me is how well coached this team is all the way around. The offensive line plays with great technique. They play with great fundamentals. They're physical. Work has been extremely efficient from the quarterback spot. I love the way their defense plays. Again, very fundamental, but a tough and physical defense. Like, he's got this team looking like a big-time outfit just from the way that they approach the game. It's going to get tougher as they head into Big Ten play, but they're not a doormat. It's not a team that you just circle on the schedule and say, oh, this is a guaranteed win. Like, they are there to really compete. And I'm excited to see it, because it does add an extra layer of fun to watching games in the Big Ten Conference specifically.
Yeah, and it's a great point about just how well coached they are and like how sound they are. I mean, he brought over so much of his staff from JMU. He brought over players from James Madison. Like, they were really able to set their expectations, I think, pretty clearly, pretty quickly. And so it's really cool to see that and have some excitement around Indiana football.